Welcome to the installation video of the CURT GM Gooseneck package on a 2017 Silverado 2500 HD. This kit includes the gooseneck underbed install kit, the double lock EZr Gooseneck center section, and the 7-way wire harness extension. To begin, remove the spare tire to provide more room for the installation. Depending on the year of the vehicle, the entire heat shield may be removed, or a portion can be cut out between the bed support to accommodate for the gooseneck center section. For this installation, we will be removing the entire heat shield. To do this, remove the 4 fasteners. The heat shield will not be reinstalled. Run a 1/2 inch bolt through the crossarm threads to remove excess powder coating or debris from the rear crossarm. Repeat this on all 6 of the crossarm mounting holes. On some truck models, the rear driver's side plastic wheel well cover will need to be trimmed. To define the trim area, place the side plate on the frame and use the provided hardware to temporarily hold it in place. The trim area on the plastic cover will be located over the gooseneck handle hole as shown in the diagram in the included instructions. Measure and mark the designated trim area. The area should be 1.5 inches high and 2.5 inches wide on the top with tapered sides. Use a rotary cutting tool or aviation shears to trim the area. Some models may require the metal flange below the bed to be bent outward or removed to allow the handle to move without interference. If the flange is cut, be sure to coat any exposed metal with the touch-up paint or rust preventative. Remove the side plate. Next, prepare to insert the rear crossarm. Notice that the holes are closer to one edge. This edge should be facing the back of the truck when inserted, so after the crossarm is rotated into position, this edge will be facing downwards. Slide the rear crossarm between the frame and the bottom of the truck, roughly above the rear tire. Once the crossarm has spanned the frame rails, use a wrench to rotate the crossarm so that the holes are offset towards the ground. Push it towards the rear of the vehicle. Position the front crossarm so that the leg without the holes is towards the cab in an upside-down V orientation. Slide the crossarm between the truck frame and the floor of the truck bed in front of the rear crossarm. Once this crossarm has spanned the frame rails, use a wrench to rotate the crossarm until the leg with the holes faces the rear of the vehicle. Note that the cylinder in the center section is offset towards the rear of the vehicle. Prepare the center section by inserting a 1/2 inch carriage bolt in through one of the centermost slots on the side that will face the front of the truck. With the serrations of the bolt retainers facing outward, place the retainer onto the carriage bolt. Use one of the included spacers to help push the bolt retainer into position. Repeat this on the opposite attachment point. Before lifting the hitch into position, make sure that the center locator is inserted into the cylinder. Lift the center section into place, positioning it between the 2 crossarms. Align the square holes in the center section with the holes in the crossarm and loosely attach the front crossarm using the provided 1/2 inch carriage bolts and hex flange nuts. The carriage bolt over the fuel tank should be inserted through the front crossarm with a spacer. Once the front crossarm hardware is loosely installed, attach the rear crossarm using 4 1/2 inch hex bolts with conical toothed washers. These bolts will thread directly into the crossarm. Next, place the side plate against the frame at the mounting location on the driver's side in between the crossarms. Loosely attach into the factory weld nuts in the frame with the supplied 16mm bolts, washers, and lock washers. Clean the weld nuts if the bolts are hard to start. Repeat this process on the opposite side. When loosely installed, slide the side plates rearward, then adjust the center section to ensure that the hitch is square and centered on the vehicle. On 2015 models or older, you will need to fish wire these bolts into place. To do this, refer to the diagram in the supplied instruction sheet. Now, attach the rear flange nut on the side plate to the rear crossarm using a 1/2 inch hex bolt and conical toothed washer. Place a 5/8 inch carriage bolt and spacer through the front flange in the side plate and front crossarm. Secure with a 1/2 inch hex nut. Repeat this process on the opposite side. Be sure to torque all the hardware installed in the crossarms and side plates in the order specified in the included instruction sheet before beginning the drilling process. From underneath the truck, use the center locator as a guide to drill a 3/16 inch pilot hole straight up through the truck bed. Next, using the center section as a guide, drill the safety chain loops from underneath the truck bed using a 5/8 inch hole saw. Make sure that the holes are located in the lower section of the truck bed ribs. A short pilot bit with a small right angle drill can ease the process of drilling the safety chain holes. Optionally, you may want to drill the pilot holes from below and finish the drilling process from above the truck bed. With a 4-inch hole saw, drill a hole from the top of the truck using the previously drilled pilot hole as a guide. We recommend using a cutting fluid to ease the drilling process. Continue drilling until the orange shavings can be seen from the locator guide and the cut section can be removed. Finish drilling the safety chain holes from above the truck bed if pilot holes were drilled from below. Deburr all of the drilled holes and spray any exposed metal with a rust inhibitor or coat with touch-up paint. To create a clean finished look, insert the rubber edging around the 4-inch hole. Next, place the chrome trim ring into position and fasten it with the 3 flathead cap screws. From inside the truck bed, place the 2 U-bolts down through the drilled holes. From underneath the truck, place a washer, then a spring, followed by another washer, and nylock nut onto each of the 4 U-bolt legs. Tighten the nuts until they are flush with the bottom of the U-bolt. Once installed, be sure to check that each U-bolt moves freely from the bed of the truck. Next, insert the cast lock pin into the ball cylinder from the driver's side with the hole located on top. Insert the handle from the outside of the vehicle on the driver's side through the holes in the center section. Slide a washer and compression spring over the handle before inserting the handle rod into the locking pin. Secure it with a hex head flange screw and nylock nut. Torque all hardware to the values specified in the supplied instruction sheet. Now you're ready to reinstall the spare tire. Lastly, find a suitable place for the product usage sticker. This completes the installation of the hitch. Now we will move on to the installation of the 7-way wire harness extension. To begin, locate the existing trailer wire harness. This one is located near the receiver hitch. Disconnect the wire harness from the 7-way connector by first carefully pressing down on the white retainer tab and disengaging. Then press down on the locking tab and pull the connectors apart, being careful to not damage the locking tabs. Insert the disconnected wire harness connector into the new, longer extension harness connector and reinstall the white retainer. Insert the new, shorter extension harness connector into the 7-way connector. Be sure that all locking tabs are fully secured. Choose a location for the new 7-way connector inside the truck bed. We have chosen this location. Be sure to have enough space inside the truck walls to accommodate the harness connector and 7-way connector fitting together. Once the location has been chosen, use a 2 1/8 inch hole saw to make a hole to fit the new 7-way connector. Deburr and spray a rust inhibitor on exposed metal or use a touch-up paint as a rust preventative. Route the extension harness from the rear 7-way connector through your chosen access point, into the truck bed walls, and out through the newly cut hole. A good place to route the excess wire is behind the taillight assembly, as shown in this example. To do this, use a Torx driver to remove the taillight assembly. Loop the excess wire and push it into the open space behind the taillight. Route the extension harness connector out through the newly cut hole in the truck bed. Now the excess wire will be neatly hidden behind the taillight. Replace the taillight. Connect the 7-way connector, making sure that the locking tabs are firmly in place. Using the supplied self-tapping screws, fasten the 7-way connector to the truck bed wall. Test your new wire harness with an electrical tester or properly wired trailer. This completes the entire installation of the CURT GM Gooseneck package on a 2017 Silverado 2500 HD.